The Prince of Wales visited Chelsea and Westminster Hospital today, where he met with London Ambulance Service (LAS) staff and volunteers to hear their harrowing stories. The Queen's eldest son and heir to the throne appeared almost speechless after listening to their accounts, and turned to reporters in disbelief and asked, "You can't believe it, can you?" Between April 2020 and January 2021 there were 529 reported incidents of violence against LAS staff. During the same period there were 834 reports of verbal abuse and threats. And in England, during the 2020-2021 period there were 3,569 ambulance staff assaulted, according to NHS figures. This represented a 32% jump from 5 years previously. Charles, 72, said, "When first think of what it has been like for so long, and how many people have been lucky enough to have wonderful paramedics and ambulance staff coming to their rescue, but now you find the situation rising, violence, attacks, verbal attacks, racial abuse and everything else." He added, "To me, it's unreal, unacceptable. Why attack the people who are trying to look after you?" Earlier, Charles had personally asked to meet with paramedics and ambulance crews who had been on the receiving end of attacks. The Prince also met Matt Hancock, the Health Secretary, on his visit to the Central London Hospital. While the Cabinet Minister tried to coax the royal into an elbow bump, Charles awkwardly declined. Instead, he opted for his signature Namaste greeting by placing his palms together in a prayer sign. Throughout the pandemic, Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall have been outspoken supporters of the NHS. London Ambulance Service volunteer James Holt met the Prince in a new staff wellbeing garden at the hospital. Mr. Holt told him, "We get so used to the verbal abuse that we don't ever report it." He added, "It's only when you think about it, you realize how normalized it has become for us. It happens so regularly, we almost forget about it." And Zadia Hussein left the future king almost speechless when she said she once had a knife pulled on her while on a call-out. Ms. Hussein said afterwards, "You have to be so aware of what's around you when you go into a house, which shouldn't be your focus. It should be the patient. I have managed to get 2 convictions against people. One man racially abused me and then tried to hit me. And the second was a lady that pulled a knife on us." Speaking to a group of medical staff, Charles questioned, "What would we do without you? I was very interested to hear about the things that you have had to put up with. It's inexcusable." He added, "We owe you a huge debt of gratitude." A Clarence House spokesperson said the Prince of Wales was shocked to hear that those who have done so much for all of us in this pandemic are the victims of abuse and violence from a small minority. They added, "NHS frontline staff and volunteers deserve our support, thanks and respect for the important work that they do." Charles and Camilla this week enjoyed a day at the races as they stepped out for Royal Ascot. Last year the organisers of the festival were forced to ban all members of the public due to the coronavirus crisis. This year, as millions re-emerge from lockdown, spectators are allowed but social distancing measures remain in place. Charles and Camilla, 73, paired stylish face masks with their outfits.